All right, in this video, we're gonna talk about the first few days after a surgery. So if you've had surgery, if you're about to have one, we'll dive into a few practical tips to make those first few days a bit more manageable. Because the first few days after a surgery can feel like a fog of pain meds, awkward body movements, and what now? Obviously, some of the tips are dependent on what type of surgery you have, but overall trying to give some holistic tips for those first few rough days. So the first practical tip is to set up some sort of recovery station. You're gonna wanna have some sort of comfortable go-to spot to rest in. So whether that's a couch, a recliner, or your bed, really depending on what type of surgery you had, you can pick your main recovery zone and get it fully stocked. So here's a quick laundry list of things that might be helpful to keep in your recovery station. So first off, a water bottle, you wanna stay hydrated. Obviously snacks help with your medications and help with that upset stomach occasionally from pain meds. Phone charger, TV remote, headphones, earplugs. Also you can have books, Kindles, things like that, maybe a night light. And then obviously a notebook or journal to really help keep track of your emotions and or your medications are a few helpful things to keep in that recovery station in your first few days. In general, having those things out and accessible is extremely helpful because you don't want to be digging through drawers or cabinets in the middle of the night, stumbling over yourself looking for that kind of stuff. So having it out and prepared and ready to go is always helpful. Second practical tip to help in the first few days after a surgery, and really for any type of surgery, might be kind of obvious, but it's ice. So it's a great tool for inflammation. You can use it 20, 30 minutes at a time, and you're gonna wanna use it several times throughout the day.
Ice? Ice? Well, it's kind of a winter sport, you know. You mean winter as in ice?
Eventually you can do a little bit more of contrast therapy, so ice, heat, ice. But within the first few days and weeks after surgery, getting that inflammation down and calmed is really key, so you'll avoid heat and mainly do ice and use it quite frequently. So a bonus tip on ice is really to ask your doctor or physical therapist about a game-ready ice machine. So it combines ice with compression, and that really helps in those first few days after surgery to really help kind of have that massaging compression along with the cold temperature and ice. Usually they prescribe those after a surgery, but if they don't, be sure to ask about that. Tip number 3 is a big one. And this is don't play catch up with your pain. So you really want to stay ahead of your pain medication and stay ahead of that pain curve.
You're entering a world of pain.
Walter, man.
You mark that frame and 8, you're entering a world of pain.
I'm not.
A world of pain.
Especially in those first few days. You want to set an alarm at night if needed, so trying to tough it out can really backfire. I've personally been to the ER in the middle of the night when a nerve block had fallen out and you're way behind on your pain. It gets really tough to deal with, so certainly rest, but set an alarm in the middle of the night to keep that schedule and stay ahead of that pain so you can be comfortable and really let your body heal. And within that pain schedule, we want to keep some sort of journal of the dosage, time taken, any side effects you might have when taking those sorts of medications. Just want to be on top of it and make sure you know when you last took it and how much time before you can take another one. So keeping a journal or log for those is very beneficial. And lastly, under that pain medication and staying ahead of that is you really want to eat something every time you take some. So if it's the middle of the night, have some crackers or something next to your bed.
Chicken cutlet. Spaghetti with garlic bread. Oh my God, the wings to go with the breast. I don't know what you are, but I will fucking eat you too.
Or wherever you're sleeping and take those with the pain medication. It can cause significant nausea or upset stomach. Be sure to eat something when you're taking those. So tip number 4 is really similar to your recovery station, but you're gonna wanna stock up on essential items and tools to have throughout the first few days of your recovery journey. Obviously a lot depends on the type of surgery you had, but certain things that really helped are slip-on shoes, a button-up shirt or zip-up hoodie, earplugs, a grabber tool that allows you to not have to bend over or reach up high is extremely beneficial. You can check out our bounce back recovery kits or care packages that have a whole plethora of tools within them. The grabber tool is one that's especially useful after hip or back surgery, but there's a few tools there to kind of help you those first few days. So in addition to these tools, there are a number of supplements that can be extremely beneficial after surgery. We have a separate video here that touches on a full supplement regimen after a surgery or injury, but we'll give some of the bare essentials here.
Vitamins, you know, they may be expensive, but at least there's no proof they work. There's vitamins, and then there's herbal supplements, which are not FDA approved. And to put that in perspective, the Twinkie is.
So the first one is vitamin C, which is essential for collagen synthesis and wound healing. You also have zinc, which is critical for immune function as well as tissue repair. And you have omega-3 fatty acids, so you think of your fish oils. These are extremely helpful in reducing inflammation and improving joint recovery. So vitamin D is another great one. It really helps with bone healing, especially if it combines it with K1 or K2, can really help with that absorption of that vitamin D. Then another great supplement is probiotics. Can really help restore that gut balance and that digestive health. And last but certainly not least are your stool softeners, because pain medication can most certainly stop you up.
Harry, are you in there?
Be right out!
I hope you're not using the toilet, it's broken.
Huh?
The toilet doesn't flush.
So you can try things like Miralax, which is fairly gentle and not immediate, as well as magnesium citrate is another great one. Really just adds water into your gut. It's gentle and effective and can really help with that pain med-induced constipation after surgery. With magnesium citrate, if you just take 3 to 4 times the dosage, if you're really stopped up, it can really help get things going. That worked for me, and it was really helpful in the first few days after surgery. So tip number 5, the next practical tip is to really make sure you have some help after surgery. So the first few days after surgery are not a great time to be solo if you can avoid it. Even basic tasks, cooking food, getting dressed, getting off the couch, getting out of bed, or getting your leg out of some aggressive machine can be surprisingly hard. So having some sort of caregiver help throughout those first few days is critical. And so the last tip, tip number 6, is really to prepare for weird emotions. So it's not just your body healing, but it's your mind as well. So you might feel frustrated, irritable, or even totally wiped out, both on a mental level and a physical level, and that's totally normal. So when you're going through recovery, just prepare for those weird emotions and hang in there. And as you're going through the process and dealing with some of those frustrating emotions, really just try to give yourself some space to heal. So whether that can be something as simple as a distraction, so watching TV, listening to music, reading a good book, whatever it is that allows your mind and body to rest, really try to implement those distractions throughout your recovery and really just give your mind and body space to heal. And so in summary, the first few days after a surgery can be really tough. So really just focus on rest. Don't expect perfection. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, and really try to be patient and trust the process. And if you've been through surgery or through the process, drop some comments below with anything that helped you throughout your journey. Always helpful to put together a list and help others that are going through it now or having a tough time. And if this video was helpful, please subscribe, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.